What's going on, everybody? Venom is back next week, and I've got some thoughts on the symbiote in the MCU. Let's talk about it. Sony and Marvel Studios are about to take Spider-Man to a whole new level, so I'm going to break down exactly how I think Tom Holland gets the symbiote in the MCU. Today, we're diving into the world of Spider-Man and exploring several intriguing theories and possibilities for how Tom Holland's Spider-Man might come into contact with the symbiote in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. From crossovers to Ultimate Universes, we're covering it all. So we are hearing many things about Holland's fourth solo outing as of late. Shang-Chi director Daniel Cretton has been given the director's chair, and Holland has officially signed. This film is looking to start filming early 2025, so we could see this come out before Avengers 5, which has bigger implications than you might think, but more on that later. The possibilities are endless, and the excitement is palpable. The symbiote's introduction would be a game changer for the MCU, and I'm eager to dive into each of these theories and examine the potential consequences. So first off, we have a Venom movie coming out next week. Tom Hardy's Venom from Sony's universe could be a key player in Spider-Man's encounter with the symbiote. After all, a drop of his symbiote was left behind in the MCU at the end of No Way Home, right? It was, wasn't it? In typical fashion, Sony's first trailer for its upcoming Venom film confused fans, as we clearly see the symbiote from the MCU being scooped up by Chiwetel Ejiofor's character. It's gonna be okay, everyone. Here's what we're gonna do. It's gonna drive us a bit nuts, but just take my hand and we're gonna do exactly what Sony wants us to do. We're gonna forget the No Way Home post-credit scene. It closes a lot of theories, but also opens up plenty more, so let's just get into it. First theory I have is, what if the symbiote was already in the MCU and we just didn't know it yet? The Venom 3 trailer revealed that the symbiote was taken back to the Sony universe, but that doesn't mean it can't find its way back or that it wasn't already there in the first place. We have to think of different ways for Holland's Spider-Man to come into contact with the symbiote, perhaps through an encounter with someone who's familiar with its existence or through an event that brings the symbiote to Earth. We could say that Oscorp took it, like in the Spider-Man video games, but the problem is that Oscorp doesn't exist in the MCU yet, according to Norman Osborn in Spider-Man No Way Home. But there are other organizations in the MCU with nefarious goals. Two that kind of come to mind are Fisk Corp, or whoever the heck bought Avengers Tower. And for this theory, I'm going to run with Fisk Corp. But regardless of who found it, this connection could play a significant role in Spider-Man's encounter with the symbiote. Perhaps with Mayor Fisk secretly using Matt Gargan and turning him into a venom-infused scorpion as a means to hunt down Spider-Man and other vigilantes. This could create a conflict that Spider-Man would be duty-bound to resolve, putting him in direct contact with the symbiote. It's a scenario that could even involve Daredevil and other street-level heroes. The consequences of a street-level crossover would be far-reaching, and it's an intriguing possibility that could add a new layer of complexity to the MCU. The second theory is that this film will take place after Avengers 5 and take place on Doctor Doom's Battle World, bringing in even more characters from the Sony Spider-Verse films, and we'll also see the return of Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and we could see these three Spider-Man go up against the Sonyverse villains, Morbius, Kraven, Rhino, and of course Venom. Under Doom's reign, we could even see Null, the creator of the symbiotes and ruler of the symbiote planet Clintar, unleashing the symbiotes on these characters. We know that Null is coming in Venom 3, but he will not be a one-and-done villain. Sony is sprinkling him into Venom 3, but I guarantee you that they are saving him for something big. After all, he is the god of the symbiotes, the creator of Venom, and he is, in my opinion, the coolest character Marvel has created in the last 20 years. And I think it's very likely that Null is at least mentioned in Spider-Man 4, and Sony eventually does a big Spider-Verse film that sort of brings everything together, and Null is the villain of that film. I know this all sounds crazy, but we have to think like Sony for a second here. And if you're confused by all this, don't worry, Venom releases next week, and I'll make a big breakdown of that film and Null after its release. But Sony is definitely cooking something. Maybe even with the help of Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige. I mean, let's hope, right? We need to consider that Sony is probably wanting Spider-Man 4 to be even bigger, even crazier than No Way Home was. And there are very few ways to do that. But a version of Planet of the Symbiote set on Battleworld or Spider-Man versus the Sonyverse, that would certainly do it. The possibilities are endless, and it's an exciting thought to consider. But here's the thing. Based on reports and rumors, the prevailing theory is that Spider-Man 4 will indeed be a grounded street-level film about Peter going to college, but there will be multiversal elements. So that's what's going on. An extra layer of intrigue is added because Spider-Man 4 starts filming early next year. So there's a strong chance that this releases before Avengers 5. So this could be an actual prequel to Doomsday, being a mostly street level film with the multiverse coming into play towards the end. It's a safe assumption to bet on, but could there be a reason for this? Maybe Holland is wrapping Spider-Man 4 first because he is a major player in both films. So they need to get this shot and done, not necessarily because Spider-Man 4 releases beforehand. Or maybe it simply does. With these two different release times in mind, let's dive into this a bit. So for this next theory, first off, we need to understand how significant any project that releases between the two Avengers films is. If we look to comics for clues, then the assumption would be that in Avengers 5, Doctor Doom will harness immeasurable powers, become God Emperor Doom, and reset the universe on Battleworld, which brings together different corners of the multiverse into one singular planet. And this is obviously where things would get interesting. But one of the main things that all these rumors surrounding a street level film with multiversal elements makes me believe is that Battleworld may not be what we actually think. See, I believe the multiverse is how the symbiote gets introduced, either in 2026's Avengers Doomsday or in Spider-Man 4 or in a Spider-Verse film. But there is a way that Battleworld could tie into Spider-Man 4 and still release before Doomsday, as shooting schedules would have us believe. What if the Battleworld Doom creates is less like a, Mad Max sort of mashup of multiverse with regions, etc., and more like just a regular Earth, but with some changes. There have been long-standing rumors that Marvel will soft reboot after Secret Wars, so that the X-Men, Spider-Man, Captain America, Iron Man, Fantastic Four, and T'Challa, and all these characters can interact as they have in the comics without all the rights issues that plagued Marvel Studios for its first 10 years. What if Doom's Battleworld is a precursor to this, and Spider-Man 4 takes place in this rebooted universe? And if it releases before Doomsday, Peter might not know it's a different universe right away, but there would be signs. We could have a street level personal film where Peter is in college and, could have Daredevil and Kingpin and all that. But what if Oscorp now exists? What if Tom Hardy's Venom is suddenly in this universe and Peter is able to get the symbiote after an intense fight with Venom? Because of his spider sense, Pete would pick up on some weirdness, that this world isn't real, that this is something created by Doom, but he's just kind of stuck on this world. What else can he do? Well, I'll tell you what would be fascinating for him to do. Find this world's Tony Stark. The great thing about this is it would let the audience get a taste of what the post-Secret Wars soft reboot will be, so that when it happens, the audience clues in and they'd be able to say, hey, this is like what Doctor Doom did, but it's good. You know what I mean? Peter realizing he's in this weird world could play similarly to Miles at the end of Across the Spider-Verse. Just a total shock to him and the audience. And I think that could be really fun. Having this world Doom created before we think he's coming to kick butt in Avengers 5, it'd be like an attack that we didn't expect. And we all know that Doom loves pulling the strings behind the scenes. Now tying this back to Venom, and we can look at the hive mind and the fact that Venom may also know that something is up with this new universe. Maybe that's how Peter knows, because he'll get the symbiote, and we've heard Holland is supposed to be the lead of the next two Avengers films. So if Holland gets the symbiote in this fourth film, there could be a great scene in Doomsday or Secret Wars where you have Tobey's Spider-Man recognize the suit and tell him to get it off immediately. Oh, there's so much juice here, guys. Not only does the prospect of Battleworld have the potential to bring together other Sonyverse characters into one universe, but it could also give us a direct link to giving Peter the symbiote. But there is one more equation to this that I think is easy for us to look past, but should alleviate some concerns we may have with Sony being Sony.
I'm not sure how I got here. Has to do with Spider-Man, I think.
And that would be actually getting Holland to sign on for another movie. You see, Tom Holland is at a stage in his career where he can be picky about his projects. And if Tobey and Andrew are involved in Spider-Man 4, or this all leads to a Spider-Verse film with Null as the villain, they do not want their characters to go out on a low note, especially not again. I think these actors will need to see a good script, maybe one that has Kevin Feige's fingers all over it. And for that reason, I think regardless of what happens or how we get the symbiote or Tom Holland's fourth movie, we are going to be in for something special. I mean, there's a reason that we didn't get a fourth film in 2023. They are taking their time. I think Tom Holland's journey through these next Avengers films and his fourth solo outing will see him get the symbiote before Secret Wars, and I think he will have it for the duration of Secret Wars. This will give him a severe power-up in the fight for the entire multiverse against Doctor Doom, but I think the anger of seeing RDJ as Doom will also play into this. Tom will also need to face his demons and see this darker version of himself that will need to be kind of reined in. The emotional and psychological effects of the symbiote on Tom Holland's Spider-Man will be immense. hinting at a deeper exploration of the character's psyche. I mean, would the symbiote bring out Spider-Man's darker impulses, or would it serve as a catalyst for growth and self-discovery? The possibilities are honestly endless, and it's an exciting thought to consider. So that's it for today's exploration of the symbiote's potential introduction to the MCU. We've covered a range of theories and possibilities, each one offering a unique take on how Tom Holland Spider-Man might come into contact with the symbiote. We also talked about Venom 3's null, implications on the future of Spider-Man, and the symbiote. Make sure to let me know in the comments what you think. How do you think Tom Holland will get the symbiote? And what implications do you think it will have for the MCU? How does null tie into all this? If you're new here, consider subscribing for more Spider-Man content and theories. And if you want to explore more on the MCU, be sure to check out my Doctor Doom character study series. All right, everybody, I appreciate you watching, and I'll catch you on the flippity flip.